FPL Gameweek 13 has just finished, and those that free hit by and large did very well. Those that triple captained, most of them chose Haaland, and that just didn't work out. He had an unusually quiet week, only 2 points. Players like myself, who have many popular players, didn't go very well either, because for the second game week in a row, most of the popular players just didn't do anything. But in a way, that's fine. If you ignore the free hitters, it's fine, because lots of teams would have then had players that didn't do well. The free hitters, they quite rightly chose the obvious players. They had the good fixtures, and by and large, they all happened to perform. So they did all right. So although for managers like me, you might have had a second red arrow in a row, it's kind of all right, because over the length of the season, I think we should still be all right. With that said, let's go ahead and look at what's happening in the FPL market. See who the popular players are, who's being brought in, and what I think of them. We're going to start by looking at the net transfers so far for Game Week 14, and this is as of about 5:30 GMT tonight. So you see the top 4 biggest movers are all sellers. That's Senesi. He's been dumped net 287,000. Now this is largely because he's suspended for the next game week. We're hitting game week 14, and in game week 16 we'll get topped up to 5 free transfers. So maybe some managers are thinking, I'll get rid of him now, won't have him for 15, and if I want him back for 16 I can. But I know a lot of managers thinking he's only got one really good game in the next few game weeks, and that's away to Burnley, so maybe we don't need him. However, if he remains popular and he keeps doing well, he is going to hurt people's ranks. Caicedo, he's a safe dump. 270,000 net have got rid of him. He's banned for 3 game weeks. Gabriel, people are still dumping him. 218,000 net out. We don't know when he's going to be back as things stand. We'll get to him later. And the next big one is Sarr. We don't know as of last time I looked that he's definitely out, but he's probably out injured, and he's only got another 3 weeks, and then he's off to the African Cup of Nations in any case. So he's not worth keeping hold of. And then the biggest ones being brought in, Thiago from Brentford being brought in, 162,000 net, but he went off injured right at the end of the game. And from the latest reports I've seen, we don't know if he's going to be playing against Arsenal or not. So personally, I think it's definitely risky bringing him in, and no doubt some managers won't be risking him and moving him on. Then Foden's very popular, 154,000 in. He scored a couple of goals, but it's the first time he's got any returns in many, many weeks. So if he carries on not getting returns, he's going to get dumped again quick. But if he keeps getting returns, obviously he's going to be very, very popular. And then Timber's being brought in as the main defensive cover for Gabriel and Senesi. And then so is Munoz at 125,000, Eze at 108. So it's interesting. This game week, as things stand, the 4 biggest movers are all players they're getting mass dumped. And there's quite a range of people replacing them. So that means the distribution of who's popular and who's not is probably going to be a bit more spread out than normal. So when we actually look at it, Haaland is slightly down from 100%, 98.8, and this is around the 600,000 mark, which is roughly where my rank is at the moment. So what this is showing us is it has the ownership percentages across the bottom, the price across the top, and the players that are highly owned, if they do well and you don't own them, they're going to hurt your rank. The way I calculate this always is look at the teams around my rank, but because so many teams free hit this week, I've ignored all the players in the free hitting teams. So for the strikers, Haaland is still the most popular, 98.8. If he does well, you don't own him, he's going to hurt you. Next most popular is Mateta. He managed to get a goal at the weekend. The next is João Pedro, who he's not done an awful lot, but he is away to Leeds. So I know some people are a little bit interested in him. He's at 43%, and a few game weeks ago he was well in the 70s. And then we have 2 forwards here around the 30% mark. That's Voltemade who scored, and Thiago who scored at the weekend as well. So they're the 5 most popular. Any of those, if they do really well and you don't own them, they could hurt your rank, unless you're playing a forward who matches them or does even better. Regarding the midfielders, although Semenyo is being offloaded by quite a few managers. He's still owned by around 3/4 of managers around my rank, so probably around your rank too. So if he does well, he's going to hurt your rank. And although he has blanked for several game weeks, he has been really close. He's surely going to be getting points. So although he's getting offloaded, personally, I'll not be offloading him anytime soon. Another midfielder just below 50% is Mbuemo. There's still some interest in him. Down at 35% is Saka. Any of those three, if they do well, you don't own them, they are going to hurt your rank. The fourth most popular at 28 is Rice. He's on the rise, quite a strong rise at the moment, which is interesting. And he's only 7 million. He's now at the point where if he does well, he's going to hurt you unless the player you have instead also does quite well. For defenders, we've got Timber up at 44.5% roughly. If you don't have him, of course, he can hurt your rank, especially if he gets more than just a clean sheet. If he gets an attacking return as well, and lots of bonuses, that's not great for you. And then around the 40% mark, we've got Gehi, Van de Ven, Senesi, and Munoz. So any of those, if they do well, could hurt your rank a fair bit. The best keeper, the most popular rather, is Raya, currently at 37.1%. And the players down here, for example, Bowen, Ekiteke, they're both below 4%. If either of those get even 20 points and you don't own them, don't need to worry about it. It's not going to hurt your rank. Now, of course, the way to play FPL is to try and have fun. But there are different ways to having fun. If your way of having fun is to try and get a good rank, then you want to protect your rank, which means you want to concentrate on the popular players. Obviously, what you want to get is the players that score the most points, but that can be quite difficult to judge who they're going to be. I'm now going to look at the players, starting with the goalkeepers. So Raya, he is still the most popular goalkeeper. He's the one that's going to hurt you the most. He's been brought in by net of 31,000 managers so far. His expected points by Solo Analytics, linked in the description below, is 4.4 points this game week. So if you don't own him and he gets 4.4 points, that's like he's got you minus 1.6 points. He's the only goalkeeper that really matters at the moment, as in the only one that's going to really hurt you. It's still the case that if you've got a playing goalkeeper, there's no need to make a change. However, in game week 16, everyone's going to get topped up to 5 free transfers. So if you're now at the point where you've got some free transfers and you don't know what to do, you could make a goalkeeper change because you're going to get 5 anyway, and you might as well use your transfers up if it's potentially making an improvement. The second most popular at the moment is Sanchez, or one second that's going to do the most damage. Chelsea have kept a lot of clean sheets recently, so it's very understandable that he's getting brought in. And third is Petrovic. So these three, if you were wildcarding now, or you're free hitting, maybe not free hitting, but if you're wildcarding, I think any of these three are the best choice at the various price points for your number one keeper. Rare at 5.9, Sanchez 4.8, or Petrovic 4.5. If they were all the same price, I'd say you go for Raya. If you really can't get to Raya because it affects your team elsewhere, Sanchez is fine, and then Petrovic saves a little bit more. And then for the rest, Donnarumma should be fine, but I think he's on 4 yellows. Upcoming fixtures are okay. I wouldn't go buying him though because of the yellow card situation. And then the rest, I'm just showing at least 10 for each position. None of these are going to hurt you. Henderson, Roofs, Pickford, Vicario, Dubravka. You want to have Dubravka. He's only 4 million. He's a playing keeper. Kelleher. You'll see Pope's not even in here. So he didn't play at the weekend away to Everton. The official reason is he's got a bit of a knock. We don't know if that is the case or if he's been dropped. If you've got Pope and Dubravka, it's okay to keep hold of Pope for one more game week if you want to, if you don't want to waste a transfer, because he may be back. And if you have to play Dubravka, they're at home to Palace. It's not the worst fixture. But if you want to move Pope on, that's understandable, but it may end up being a wasted transfer. For the defenders, Timber's been brought in by net of 135,000 managers so far this game week. So he was already popular. He's now even more popular, 6.4 million. If he does well, that's going to hurt your rank. And then just behind him is Gehi. He's pretty flat regarding who's buying and selling him at the moment. 3 of the next 4 are quite nice. Burnley, Fulham, Leeds. but they are all away. And the issue with Palace is they don't have a very large squad, and they are looking a little bit tired. So it's fine to have Palace players, especially as they're popular, but it may be toward the end of each game they're just going to get a bit more tired. Then Munoz, he's been brought in by 125,000 managers. Munoz and Timber, they're the two that are being brought in the most this game week, defender-wise. Munoz, perfectly good player, as is Gahey. Virgil van Dijk, he's down slightly by 7,000. He is expensive, 6 million, but same price as Munoz. In a normal season, you think Virgil's the safer player, but Munoz does have more attacking potential. Liverpool have been awful. Now, some managers are getting excited because Liverpool won at the weekend, but it was against West Ham. No need to get too excited there. It'd be interesting over the next few game weeks to see how they do. If you've got Virgil, he's fine to keep hold of. Personally, I probably wouldn't be bringing him in this game week, though. Van de Ven, he's dropping in popularity, down net 82,000. The fixtures upcoming aren't great. Newcastle, Brentford, Forest, Liverpool. But he's still popular enough that if he gets a massive score, which he could do, that is going to hurt your rank a bit. There's absolutely no way I'd be bringing him in at the moment. And if you've got him, he's all right to move on. I've got him, and I've done my best to try and keep hold of him at the moment. And then Goodmanson's just bench fodder. So Cucurella and Chalobah, both of Chelsea. Chelsea have been keeping lots of clean sheets. Chalobah scored at the weekend. So Chalobah's been brought in by net 94,000. Cucurella net 39,000. They're both fine choices. The next four, Leeds, Bournemouth, Everton, Newcastle, could easily get 2 or 3 clean sheets in that time. Then Calafiore, nothing wrong with him. But Timber's more popular, so Timber's the one that's going to hurt you. But he's 5.8 million, whereas Timber's 6.4 million. And clearly, people online think Timber's slightly safer, as in from a minutes risk point of view. Now, I have heard people saying it's feasible that Timber will get dropped at some point or rested or start from the bench. That's probably not enough to put you off buying him, though, because equally he could just play for the entire rest of the season. And then Senesi, don't go buying Senesi because he's banned for this coming game week. However, he is still very popular. And although Chelsea, Man United probably won't get a clean sheet there, then he's got home to Burnley, he may get something. So he is getting offloaded. Currently, he's been sold by net 287,000. I've got Senesi. I'm absolutely not intending to get rid of him at the moment because he's popular. If his percentages were like 20% or less ownership, then I'd be fine to move him on. But for me, at the moment, it's just too risky. Second pace defenders, none of these are going to hurt you if you don't own them. Mukulele's bench fodder, Electric Steve's bench fodder, Rodon bench fodder. Don't go buying Gabriel, and it's worth selling him. However, we don't know when he's back, but Solio Analytics currently think there's a chance he's going to be back for the away Everton game. No, we don't know. They're just guessing. They're just putting in a low number for him. Maybe in a few game weeks' time we'll have a much better idea. Absolutely worth selling him, especially as we are going to be getting extra transfers in a couple of game weeks' time. He's only in here because he's still very, very popular. For the midfielders, Semenyo, even though he's been sold by 71,000, I'm saying he's still a very good player to have. He has blanked for several game weeks. Everton, Chelsea, United, Burnley, but he can get points against anyone. Absolutely no intention of selling him at the moment as far as I'm concerned. And Burmo's still good. He should be here for the next 3 game weeks. Probably gone by Aston Villa game, but we don't know. Off to AFCON. But because we get topped up to 5 free transfers in game week 16, if you've not got him and you want to get him, I think it's still alright. But he's slightly down by 33,000 at the moment. Saka is up by 17,000, so a slight increase, but he is quite expensive, but he is a good player. Of these, any of these could hurt you a bit if they do well and you don't own them. Rice, he's up by 80,000. So more people have bought Rice than sold Semenyo. Perfectly good player, 7 million. On quite a few set pieces. Could get some DEFCONs. He might only get 1 or 2 double-digit scores between now and the end of the season. But he's a nice, solid player. And 7 million's not too expensive, really. And Fernandes, he's up by 94,000 net so far. That's because he got a couple of assists at the weekend, plus some bonus points. 8.9 million. Next games are nice. West Ham, Wolves and Bournemouth. So if you were wildcarding now, let's say, and you were going to go for 5 midfielders, the 5 on the screen at the moment would be a perfectly okay choice, but it's quite expensive. If I was going for 4 in the midfield, it would be Semenyo and Bremo, and then Saka or Rice, or Saka and Rice probably, if I was going for 4. If I was just playing 3, I'd probably go Semenyo and Bremo, Saka. So the order they're appearing at the moment is probably my preferred order, but they're all good picks at the moment. Ndiaye is a perfectly good player. Away to Bournemouth and home to Forest. Away to Chelsea. Then he's off to AFCON. So absolutely don't go buying him. If you've got him, you want to keep hold of him, that's okay. I mean, he costs a transfer to move on at the moment. And I suspect in game week, once we reach 16, he'll be massively dumped, of course. So wouldn't go buying him, but he's okay. Eze's a good player, but he's more expensive than Rice. Rice is generally safer for minutes. Rice would do you more damage if he does well and you don't own him. So if I had to choose between Rice and Eze at the moment, I would go Rice. But if you've got Eze, that's fine. He's all right. And the reality is there are lots of midfielders at the moment that are all right and could do quite well. Enzo's been brought in by 41,000. Perfectly good choice. He's got Leeds, Bournemouth, Everton, Newcastle next few. His minutes should be all right. Palmer is Palmer was on the bench, so he's probably going to start playing soon. If Palmer's on the pitch, he should be the one taking the penalties. We think Enzo is probably second choice. But if you've got Enzo, absolutely fine to keep hold of him if you want to. But if he does well, he shouldn't hurt you too much. Gakpo got a goal and assist. If he gets good minutes, then he should be a good choice for the next few game weeks. 7.5 million, all of the top row at the moment are a safer choice. But if you've got him, that's fine. If you're free hitting or even wildcarding and you want him, he's okay as well. And then Minte, he's only 6.2, so that's the cheapest on the screen. Up 74,000, Gakpo's up 63,000. Minte is a good choice. He's been doing very well. Nothing wrong with him. At the moment, he's not one of the most popular midfielders, though. He's the 10th most important midfielder at the moment. So if you want Minte quite cheap, perfectly good choice. But if he does well and you don't own him, you don't need to fear him at the moment. Second page in midfielders, none of these are going to hurt you massively. Kudos is down 14,000. He scored at the weekend. If he hadn't scored, he'd probably be down by even more. But he's a very important Spurs player. If I had him, I wouldn't be desperate to move him on, but I wouldn't be buying him. Yeah, don't go buying Kudos, but you don't have to sell him. Grealish, 0.1 more than Kudos. He's been sold by 69,000 so far this game week. Nothing special about him. He's absolutely fine to move on. Foden got 2 goals at the weekend. He's been brought in now by 154,000. 8.1 million. If he keeps getting returned over the next few game weeks, of course he's going to go right up and be one of the probably 2 or 3 most popular midfielders. But it was the first time he's got a decent score for many game weeks, and he's been playing good minutes since game week 6. So there's nothing to say he's going to now go several more game weeks without getting a good score. But they have got Fulham, Sunderland, Palace, West Ham, so the fixtures are good. If you wanted to go for an exciting pick that reasonably could do well, then Foden is a perfectly good choice. At the moment, if he does well, it's not going to hurt your rank though. Then Rangers, he's not getting the minutes. Dropped so far net 52,000. He's not going to hurt you. No need to fear him at all. King's just bench fodder. You've got to have 3 players on your bench each game week. He's about the cheapest midfielder that's, if you need him, he might get you a point. Onto the forwards now. Haaland, no net movement, which means probably most managers who intend to have him have now got him. He's blanked the last 2 game weeks. The next 4 fixtures are very nice though. Fulham, Sunderland, Palace, West Ham. He could return in all of those. Very good player. If you're wildcarding, you've not got him, absolutely worth having. Mateta, he's popular and he's ticking along quite nicely. 8.1 million, perfectly fine to have. João Pedro's a good player, but he's not always getting the minutes. The upcoming 3-4 fixtures are perfectly good. If we knew he was getting 85 minutes, he would be a good choice. You don't need to get rid of him, but he has been sold by net 100,000 so far this game week. but he's still popular enough that if he does really well, and he could get a couple of goals against Leeds, if he does well and you don't own him, he could be hurting your rank. Balsamade, he's gone up by 58,000 so far this game week. He's perfectly alright player. If I was going to have 3 forwards, he probably wouldn't make the cut for me, but if you've got him, he's a perfectly good choice. Nothing wrong with him. Thiago's a funny one because he went off injured after the 90-minute mark, and I keep checking online and there's no confirmation one way or the other. He's been brought in by 162,000. I already own him, but if I didn't, there's no way I'd be bringing him in because 1, we don't know his fitness status, and 2, they are away to Arsenal. So reasonable chance if he plays, he's only going to get 1 or 2 points anyway, but we don't know he's going to play. If I was wildcarding without confirmation of his status, I still wouldn't buy him. If we knew he was fit and I was wildcarding and I wanted 3 forward, it'd be Haaland, Mateta, Thiago. If I wanted 2, it'd be Haaland, Mateta. If I was having 1, it'd be Haaland. When I say 1, I mean 1 I intend to play each game week. Of course, you're going to have 3. And then Welbeck, he's ticking along all right. He's not high enough owned to hurt you, though. He's down by 2,000. Thiago was up by 162,000. Can't remember if I said that or not. Bowen, all right, ticking along, but he's down by 23,000. He's not going to hurt you. And Krupa Jr., he's just bench fodder. Ekiteke's not getting the minutes. He's been dumped by 68,000. And then Mark Gahey, again, he's just bench fodder. Now looking at the benching order, I assume most of you have got Dubravka and someone else. So this is my preferred order for who you play. If you've got Rare, you play him. Then it'd be Petrovic, Sanchez, Donnarumma. Then I'd be playing Pope if I had him. So he's probably not going to play, I'm thinking, but he's either going to start or probably not even be on the bench. So he's fine to play at this point if you want to. Then it'd be Henderson, Pickford, then Dubravka, then Vicario, Kelleher and Roofs. Regarding the other players, apart from 6 we've put aside for potential captaincy choices or vice captaincy choices, my preferred order would be, and you do whatever you like, Foden, Altomare, Gakpo, Virgil van Dijk, Munoz, Rice, João Pedro, Timber, Eze, Thiago, Cucurella, Gahey, Calafioe, Ndaya, Minte, Enzo, Chalobah, Welbeck, Kudos, Van de Ven, Ekiteke, Grealish, Bowen, Reinders, Electric Steve, Mukulele, Rodon. Then we have King, Goodmanson, Krupa Jr., Mark Gahey, then Senesi's not playing, nor Gabriel, nor Caicedo, nor Sarr. Regarding captaincy, Haaland, for me, is the safest choice. And I personally think he's got the best chance of getting the best score, but he has blanked the last 2 game weeks, and there are plenty of managers online saying they're not going to go for Haaland, they're going to go for somebody else. So another one that could be okay, home to West Ham, is Fernandes. He could do all right. And then Saka's another choice at home to Brentford. So Solio Analytics, of these 3 at time of recording, they've given Haaland an XP of 6.3, Fernandes 6.5 and Saka 6.4. So it's all very close. But because Haaland is so highly owned, if you choose the Fernandes or Saka, let's say, but Haaland outscores them, that will hurt your rank. Whereas if you captain Haaland, but you own, say, Saka, but Saka outscores him, that's still going to be good for your rank, and it doesn't matter. Other potential captaincy choices, Mbeumo's all right, Mateta maybe, or even Semenyo. Even though Semenyo's not done much recently, he totally could do. And there we have it, my thoughts for Game Week 14. A very quick turnaround video. Hopefully I didn't make too many mistakes in that. I think I did all right. I'll find out in the editing. Hope you have a good game week, and I hope you can hold on all right till Game Week 16 where we get topped up to 5 free transfers. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.